What if sound had a color? Not metaphorically, not emotionally, but literally. What if the note C sharp was turquoise? What if traffic horns tasted bitter? What if a human brain refused to keep its senses separate? For most of us, the senses live in separate rooms. Sight does its job, sound does its job. Taste, touch, smell, all politely minding their own business. But for a small number of people on Earth, the walls between those rooms never fully formed. And for one man, those walls were not just thin, they were erased. This is the true story of Neil Harbisson, a man born unable to see color, who would later hear color, taste color, and permanently alter the definition of what it means to be human. This is not science fiction. This is not symbolism. This is documented human biology. And once you understand it, you will never think about your senses the same way again. Neil Harbisson was born in 1982 in Northern Ireland and raised in Spain. From birth, he had a rare neurological condition called achromatopsia. Achromatopsia is not colorblindness in the casual sense, it is total colorblindness. People with achromatopsia see the world entirely in shades of black, white, and gray. No red, no blue, no green, no yellow. But that's only the beginning. Achromatopsia also comes with extreme light sensitivity, poor visual acuity, involuntary eye movements. Bright sunlight can be physically painful. Colors are not muted. They simply do not exist. Neil grew up believing the world was meant to look this way, that color was an abstract concept people talked about, like mythology. But his brain, quietly, was already doing something unusual.
Achromatopsia is caused by dysfunction in the cone cells of the retina. However, the brain often compensates by enhancing other sensory pathways. This compensation increases the likelihood of cross-modal perception. In simpler terms, when one sense is missing, the brain begins rerouting information.
And sometimes, those reroutes become permanent highways. In his early 20s, Neil met a cybernetics expert named Adam Montandon. Together, they designed something radical, an antenna implanted directly into Neil's skull. Not wearable, not removable, implanted. This antenna detects color frequencies from the environment. Those frequencies are converted into audible vibrations, conducted through bone. In other words, the antenna does not show Neil color. It plays color as sound. Red vibrates at a different frequency than blue. Yellow hums differently than violet. At first, Neil had to memorize what each sound meant. But then, something remarkable happened.
Let me guess. His brain stopped translating and just started knowing.
Exactly. After months of continuous exposure, Neil's brain stopped treating the antenna as a tool. It treated it as a new sensory organ. Functional MRI scans showed that the signals from the antenna began activating areas of the brain associated with color perception, not hearing. The brain rewired itself. This is called neuroplasticity. Neil was no longer hearing color. He was perceiving it. Neil's experience overlaps with a neurological phenomenon called synesthesia. Synesthesia occurs when stimulation of one sensory pathway automatically triggers another. Examples include seeing colors when hearing music, tasting words, feeling textures when seeing shapes. It is not a disorder. It is a documented variation in brain wiring. Approximately 2 to 4% of humans experience some form of synesthesia. But Neil's case is unique. His synesthesia was expanded through technology.
Neuroplasticity allows the adult brain to reorganize itself in response to repeated stimuli. Neil's continuous exposure created a permanent neural association. His brain now processes color as a sensory reality, not a translation. This qualifies as sensory expansion, not sensory substitution.
Over time, Neil began to taste colors as well, not metaphorically. He reports that certain colors feel bitter, others feel sweet. Some produce metallic sensations. This occurs because sensory regions in the brain overlap. Once one boundary dissolves, others may follow. Neil Harbisson is officially recognized as the world's first cyborg. His antenna appears on his passport photo, legally, not as art, not as fashion, as a body part. His existence raises questions that science can no longer avoid. What defines a human sense? Is biology fixed or editable? Where does the body end and technology begin? Neil does not believe he's enhancing himself. He believes he's completing himself.
So the real mystery isn't that he sees sound, it's that we assume we're already finished.
The human brain is not static. It is unfinished, and Neil Harbisson proves something quietly revolutionary. Reality is not limited by the world. It is limited by perception, and perception can change.